In a quiet, roadside diner glowing with soft neon lights, the jukebox hums a slow Elvis Presley tune. The camera finds Jake, a 26-year-old aspiring singer, sitting alone in a corner booth with a cup of coffee gone cold. His eyes are fixed on a worn photograph of Elvis, the man who inspired his every dream. Jake has spent years perfecting his voice, studying the King's moves, and dreaming of the moment he could prove himself worthy of carrying that legacy. Today was supposed to be that moment. He had traveled miles for an audition with Elvis's former manager, hoping for a chance to be heard. But instead of encouragement, he received only a cold rejection. "You're too old for this business, kid," the manager had said before walking away. Those words echo in Jake's mind as he sits in silence, his heart heavy with disappointment. The world outside seems to fade while he stares at his reflection in the diner window, a dreamer questioning his worth. The waitress refills his coffee and gives him a sympathetic smile, sensing his pain. The jukebox shifts to "Can't Help Falling in Love," and Jake closes his eyes, whispering the lyrics under his breath. A spark flickers in his heart. Even through the sting of rejection, something inside him refuses to die. He clenches his fists, takes one last look at Elvis's picture, and whispers to himself, "They'll see." It's the moment his quiet determination is reborn. Back in his small apartment, Jake paces across the worn wooden floor, the echoes of rejection still ringing in his mind. The walls are covered with old Elvis posters, reminders of the dream he refuses to give up. He pulls out his guitar and starts strumming softly, his voice shaky at first, then growing stronger with each note. The room feels alive with his determination. Days turn into nights as he practices relentlessly, replaying Elvis's performances on an old TV, studying every gesture, every tone, every heartbeat behind the music. His neighbors sometimes bang on the walls, tired of hearing the same songs, but Jake doesn't stop. Sweat drips down his face, his voice cracks, but he keeps singing, pushing through the pain and exhaustion. The dim light from a single lamp casts long shadows on the wall, framing his silhouette like that of a young Elvis chasing a dream. On his cluttered desk lies a flyer for a local talent show, bold letters reading, "Open Mic Night, prove you've got talent." He stares at it for a long time, his reflection visible in the window beside it. The fear of failure mixes with a burning desire to prove himself. Finally, he picks up a pen and scribbles his name onto the registration form. A smile flickers across his tired face. This time, he won't let anyone tell him he's too old, too late, or not good enough. This time, he's going to be heard. The night of the talent show arrives, and the air inside the auditorium hums with anticipation. The stage lights cast a warm glow across the crowd, their murmurs blending with the faint sound of tuning instruments backstage. Jake stands behind the curtain, dressed in a simple black suit and holding his vintage microphone tightly. His palms are sweating, and his heart pounds in rhythm with the muffled applause from the audience. He takes a deep breath, remembering every long night he spent practicing alone, every word of doubt that once tried to silence him. The host announces his name, and as Jake steps onto the stage, a hush falls over the room. The spotlight blinds him for a moment, but then the familiar opening chords of an Elvis classic begin to play. He closes his eyes, lets the music take over, and starts to sing. His voice is deep, rich, and filled with raw emotion, not an imitation of Elvis, but a tribute from the soul. The crowd leans forward, caught off guard by the power in his voice. The judges exchange astonished glances, one of them whispering, "He sounds just like him." As the song builds, Jake moves with natural grace, channeling the energy of the king himself. The audience begins to cheer, clapping to the rhythm, and Jake feels something he hasn't felt in years, belonging. Every note he sings breaks through the memory of rejection, replacing it with triumph. As Jake reaches the heart of the song, the atmosphere in the auditorium shifts from quiet admiration to electric excitement. The crowd is on its feet, clapping and cheering, swept up by the power of his performance. The bright stage lights shimmer across his face as he pours every ounce of emotion into each lyric, his voice echoing through the hall like a wave of nostalgia and passion. Then, in the middle of the audience, the same man who once called him too old sits frozen, his eyes wide in disbelief. He had come out of curiosity, never expecting to see the same rejected singer command the stage like a star reborn. Jake's voice rises, trembling with both strength and vulnerability, and the band follows his lead, the music swelling to its peak. The audience grows silent as Jake holds the final note, long, pure, and filled with heart. For a moment, time seems to stop. Then the silence breaks into a thunderous roar of applause and whistles. People stand, cheering his name, some even wiping away tears. The camera pans to the manager, his expression softening from disbelief to pride, a glimmer of regret in his eyes. Jake lowers the microphone, his chest heaving as he takes in the sight before him, the validation he has waited for all his life. Under the bright lights, his dream is no longer just a dream, it's real, and everyone in the room knows they've witnessed something unforgettable. The stage is quiet now, the last echoes of applause fading into the air. Jake stands in the center, breathing heavily, sweat glistening on his forehead under the soft glow of the spotlight. The audience remains on its feet, cheering his name, their faces lit with admiration and awe. Slowly, the judges rise for a standing ovation, smiling and nodding toward him. A wave of emotion washes over Jake, pride, relief, and disbelief all at once. For the first time, he feels the weight of every rejection lifting off his shoulders. From the crowd, Elvis's former manager steps forward, his face a mixture of humility and respect. He walks up to the stage, clapping slowly, then says just loud enough for Jake to hear, "I was wrong about you." Jake looks down, his eyes glassy, and simply smiles. "Elvis taught me never to quit," he replies softly, his voice steady but full of feeling. The crowd erupts again, louder than before, chanting his name as he waves and steps back from the microphone. The lights dim to a golden hue as Jake gazes out at the cheering audience, the dream he once thought was lost now burning brighter than ever. The camera pans out, showing him silhouetted against the glow of the stage, a man who refused to give up, standing tall in the very spotlight he was once told he'd never earn. The moment feels timeless, like Elvis himself would be proud.